Welcome everyone. It's Nicole with Wedding Venue Map for our monthly Lunch and Learn where we love to bring in amazing educators from all over the country. I know not everybody has the time to step away from the office, go to education, sometimes travel to conferences. So we love to bring this education right to you. So whether you're here watching with us live or catching this on the replay, I'm so excited to introduce today Lonnie Peterson. As a seasoned business owner and full time professor at the University of Colorado Boulder in the advertising, PR, and design department, Lonnie blends world experience with academic insights to create dynamic and engaging learning environments in both the classroom and on stage. And today she's here with us at the webinar. She brings her passion for creative strategy, brand storytelling, and experiential marketing to every speaking engagement. So, whether she's delivering keynote, moderating a panel, or leading a hands on workshop. And today she'll be diving into the power of you building a personal brand. So, with that, I'm so excited to introduce to her again. I'll have you take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here and taking time out of your day. I hope you find this presentation helpful. And those watching it in the replay, please know that I'm available for any questions or comments after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so everyone is up to speed. Okay, so I am a full time professor at CU Boulder. Like Nicole mentioned, I'm in the advertising, PR, and design department. I teach a personal branding class to my juniors and seniors. These kids are in the marketing, advertising, strategic thinking realm, and it's my job to help them take their skills and their assets and turn them into marketable things that they can put on their applications, their resumes, cover letters, you name it. So we want to kind of get into that same mindset of what are you internally as a human really good at? What is your venue, your industry type really good at? And how can we best sell that to your potential audience? And by doing that, we can do through building your personal brand. So, people don't buy goods and services. They buy relationships, stories, and magic. Mr. Seth Godin, one of my favorites, great books, great podcast. Akimbo is his podcast if you're looking for a little bit of extra marketing and advertising support. He has a great way of putting really complex ideas and concepts into simplified steps and really easy to understand and implement for where you are at that moment, whether for your business or personal. So just to, reiterate what he's saying here. People don't buy goods and services, they buy relationships. And that's where the wedding industry, I think, really excels, where we show up on our website, how we show up on Instagram, how we interact with people when we are on site, whether we're interacting with vendors or if we are guest facing. People connect to those relationships, the stories you can share with your clients because you might be working with them for 18, 24 months before their big day, and that spark, that magic, that reason they connected with you to purchase and utilize your product in the first place. I also own a wedding planning business. So, as a planner, I have to be able to connect with my client, be a safe space, because I'm going to be walking that line with them for the next 18, 24 months. If there's a hard conversation with the in laws, if they have to negotiate a contract, I need to feel like that safe space that they can come to, have hard conversations with, be able to feel confident that I'm going to have their back. And should a decision need to be made on site, I know what's best for them and they know I'm going to make the best choice for them. So they don't buy goods and services. They want to buy that relationship, the stories and the magic. And building out your personal brand is a way to connect with those three things. Why is your personal brand so important? In today's wedding market, couples don't just book venues or any vendor in the industry. They align with values, your aesthetic, and your personalities. That's why your brand matters as much as your ballroom. And we can sub in ballroom here for any of your services. In Colorado, where I'm located, there are so many planners. We've got beautiful mountain venues, small towns. We have lots of little cute niches in the state of Colorado. There's a planner for literally everyone. Who's going to align with me is my ideal client, and they're going to connect with my values, my aesthetic, and how I like to show up, and my personality. So, same thing applies for you guys. Just as much as your brand matters, so does your service, or in this case, ballroom. So, personal branding helps you do a couple of things. Building a really strong personal brand helps you build trust, which in turn increases those bookings. And Personally, I came off a little bit of a slow 2025, and I feel like I heard that similarly around the industry, at least in Colorado. So here we are trying to build those trust boundaries again, building up the relationships, the magic in order to turn it into more bookings. Personal brand will also help differentiate you in a crowded market. Maybe your space also has a million of you. How can you stand out? What do you offer that's uniquely you that your competitor doesn't offer? Personal branding and figuring out what those elements are helps you stand out in a crowd. And you're also able to influence beyond the sale. Maybe you're a service that is able to have a repeat customer for planners or other folks that are maybe a one time thing. We hope people get married just once, right? Maybe the service is the influence beyond the sale is the referral. They're going to tell their friends. There was a guest at the event that saw our team doing a great job, saw your team doing a great job, making that referral. Why do they choose to spend their energy telling somebody about you and about your business? So again, personal branding, having a strong personal brand helps you build trust, which increase bookings. It helps differentiate you within the crowded market, and you influence beyond the sale. And that can be anything from a review that gets left 6 months later, right? They're still thinking about you. A referral to their friends and family, whether it's a guest that saw you working on site or somebody trusts you with their best friend, or if they are a repeat client, this is how you bring them back for round two or three or four. So, where do you even start to build a personal brand? So, we have to think about ourselves individually. What do we bring uniquely, especially if you're the business owner or a venue manager or a lead planner for another planner? What do you bring? What are your special things and your unique qualities that can help build your personal brand? And one way we start thinking about those things is thinking about your peak experiences. These peak experiences are going to look a little bit different for everyone. And you can think about them from a personal point of view or a business point of view. So I encourage you, if you're taking notes right now, write down peak experiences. And when you close your eyes and think about the warm and fuzzies, the things that make you come back season after season, the types of clients that you've really enjoyed working with. What were some of those peak experiences that we can jot down and use as a framework to help build our personal brand? And later on in this session, we're going to build a narrative. So here's some examples. They were the best clients. Maybe you're friends now. Maybe you go to happy hour and have coffee. Maybe they've invited you to other events through their work or introduced you to somebody else. Maybe having the best client relationship was a peak experience for you. Maybe it was the vendor team. Maybe the group on site, maybe something happened. Nothing ever happens at a wedding, right? The vendor team, maybe they came together, they had each other's backs, they were great at communicating, they stepped in where they needed to, they were accessible, they communicated. So maybe if you are a venue, that vendor team was really one you love working with. And similarly, as a planner, and I'm sure for all of you in here, you have groups of people you enjoy working with. If you see them on the vendor list for the wedding on the timeline, you're like, phew, thank goodness this event's going to go great. So maybe vendor team experience is a peak moment in your business. Maybe it's financial. Maybe these clients had the ideal budget for your business and what you offer. They're willing to pay for your services and what you are worth. They're not trying to nickel and dime. They didn't ask for a discount. They value your worth. So maybe that's a peak experience as well. Perhaps this is happening when you're trying to upgrade your pricing and you have that positive feedback of, they didn't ask twice, they paid my fee, and here we go. So, again, maybe a peak experience can be financial. Maybe it's communication. Maybe you're all about transparency, open communication. And again, just referencing my industry as a planner and an educator, I like quick email responses because it means that you're engaged, you are willing to have conversation, and it shows my clients that I am staying up to date. I've got the most timely pieces of information, and it helps build that trust, which then again makes those bookings. Excuse me. And another thing to consider with responsiveness to emails, maybe you didn't have to hound them for payments. You sent them their one invoice and they paid right away. Maybe you've had that experience where you've had to chase some folks down. So perhaps responsiveness, timeliness, those are peak experiences for you and your business. The venue was a perfect size for the guest count, not too small, not too big. It didn't feel empty. We had all of the elements that they wanted. So maybe if you're a venue, you're trying to figure out what your capacity is. Perhaps that guest count and that day and that moment in time just felt really good. So take that moment, that peak experience as something that's not minor, but to continue thinking about as you move forward marketing your business. And lastly, maybe their grand exit was super unforgettable. To me, that means they were super creative. They thought outside the box. They incorporated their guests into their special moments. Maybe those are peak experiences for you. Those intangibles, those emotion driven things that happen on wedding day. Maybe that's a peak experience for you. So here's a couple examples, right? We're going to use these throughout the rest of this lecture as continuing on to the next concepts. But again, I encourage you, write down some peak experiences. Take a moment, get your cup of coffee, sit somewhere comfy, and think about what are some really moving, positive experiences that you've had that you're going to keep with you and make you coming back season after season to do the job that you love. So, how do we activate these experiences? We got to take them from warm and fuzzies. These are great memories. We've got them in a list. How do we put these experiences into action and helping us build that trust and make those bookings possible? So, your personal brand serves as your best protection against business factors you can't control. A lot of us have seen post COVID, any of these traumatic times in our history and timeline in the industry, people will panic or they think they have to pivot. They have to add another line item to their business offerings. Your brand is the steady. What you show up for and who you show up for in the industry, whether it's online in a digital space or an in person space, that is what you can control. And that's what's going to be consistent. In business, as a business owner, or someone who works for a small business, things are constantly changing. Our audience is constantly changing. We're trying to think about, what does Gen Z want? Millennials are still getting married. Where's our audience changing? While this is all changing around us, your personal brand is the one consistent. And this is the thing that people are going to remember. Even through all of the chaos with COVID and the changes that are happening and whatabouts and the ifs and whens, I kept telling myself, stay the course. Stay the course, because what's going to happen is you're going to become recognizable. They are going to expect certain things from you and your brand and your business. And when you continue to show up and stay true to your personal brand, they're going to remember. And they meaning potential clients, current clients, past clients, tell their friends, clients. That is what you can control. So if you're one of those that are trying to pivot and make a change and do it better and different, stay the course. Refine how your personal brand is being showcased to the public and your potential clients, and understand how you can harness that power and really speak to your ideal client and your ideal client only. Okay, so now that we've got some peak experiences written down and we're thinking about those things that have been high points in our career so far, whether it's business driven, client experiences, whatever that might be, we need to think about key skills your business has. So, back to the top where I mentioned I teach this to juniors and seniors who are about to graduate. They are getting their resumes in order. They're trying to turn their, I was a bartender into a sellable skill for being in marketing and advertising, right? We think, okay, if you're a bartender, what does that even mean? You are good with people, you're good under pressure, you are timely, you are creative, you can multitask, right? So, what are some things we can build as skill sets from our peak experiences? Okay. So we've got two types of skills we're going to divide our list into. We've got hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills meaning they are quantifiable and they are specific, right? The hard skill meaning they showed up on time, they clocked their 8 hours, right? What are some numbers that we can assign to these hard skills? Maybe venue driven wise, it's like we know our capacity is 130. That's our skill and that's our strong suit, and we have to stick to that. So if we get an inquiry for 250, we have to say, no, because we know 130 is our sweet spot. And then conversely, something not quantifiable and specific are our soft skills. And I think in the wedding industry, we are oozing these soft skills. We have to identify what our strongest soft skills are, how they benefit our personal brand, and how they connect to our ideal client. Especially with wedding planning services, again, my experience, People are getting married one time. How do we educate newly engaged couples that they need a planner? Okay. Because once they've had their wedding without a planner, they can't go back and fix it and try it again. So, how does that relate to your business? Are you if they don't hire me once, then I won't get them? Soft skills are going to be a huge part of your personal brand. So that means they're interpersonal, it's a relationship. How can you make your client feel like the hero? By hiring your services. Okay. It's not the me show. It's how can I make my client feel like the hero of their day? And these soft skills are going to really play into that. And again, what are your top three? Let's use your actual strengths that you find are attainable for you to use every day and have shown results. So we've got hard skills and soft skills. So let's take back our examples from our peak experiences list. Okay, so we've got a few hard skills from our peak experience list. The first one meaning that vendor team was amazing, right? Our hard skill is your preferred vendor list. Okay, you have control over that list of people you give to your potential new clients, whether it's on your website or if you're a venue, these are the people that you agree and like working with. You have power in that preferred vendor list. So building those relationships and producing that specific list of people so you do get to have continued peak experience of that vendor team was amazing. Another hard skill translated from your peak experience is they had an ideal budget for our business. So that means we are only accepting X number of budget for intake calls. We're only doing tours for X number of budget folks, or how do we make that ratio work out for us? Do we do more tours? Do we do more intake calls and then customize our pricing? So you have to figure out what that means to you based off that peak experience of they had an ideal budget for my business. Another hard skill. Talk about the brass tacks. What does it boil down to budget? And our last hard skill example appears our venue was the perfect size. So that's a hard skill. It's a thing you cannot change. Your venue, you could add on, but your venue can't change size, right? If you've got a structure, you are not able to all of a sudden go from serving 130 to 250 overnight. That is a specific and quantifiable hard skill that you have that is to your benefit that you need to lean on if you are a venue. Another hard skill for this might be I have a large team. I'm able to take on lots of clients per weekend. I enjoy volume, right? And the converse of that is I have just me. I'm a solopreneur. So I take the right client and only a specific number of those clients. So hard skills with your peak experiences. So with your list of peak experiences, we're going to maybe do a note to the side. This feels like a hard skill and write a reason why. Is it I can make a preferred vendor list? Is it numbers of intake calls and tours and or conversations you'd like to have before somebody books with you? Is the hard skill something you just can't change, right? I'm a team of one. My venue can't get any bigger. What are those hard skills, quantifiable and specific? On the flip side, we've got soft skills. So back to those examples. They were so responsive to emails and payments. That is a direct line to your ideal client personality trait. You want someone who's communicative, transparent, respects your time, and knows your worth, right? And we're able to do that through those intake calls and tours, what we put forward on our website, how we communicate our personal brand, and the expectation that those are the clients you're trying to draw in that are responsive, timely, make their payments when they're supposed to, and trust your value. Okay. So building those interpersonal relationships, showcasing the kind of ideal client traits that you would like through your channels is part of these soft skills that will really amplify your brand. They were the best clients. What does that mean? Right? That was a relationship. I enjoyed their personality. They made me laugh all the time. Our values align. Okay, so what other things that are intangible does that bring to the table under this soft skill category for they were the best clients, right? I've got a couple of those myself. We still grab coffee and go to happy hour together. So you maintain that relationship. And honestly, those folks have brought me the most return business because they tell all their friends, right? So I'm getting more and more of the same type of client through nurturing that relationship when I was like, they were the best. They were the best clients because that showcases my brand and my personality and what I value and I put out for my potential new client audience. The last one on here, soft skills, is their grand exit was unforgettable. So that's is your client creative? Is that maximizing your vendor relationships? Hey, I've got a client who's got a wild ask, but I think it's going to be so cool. Can you help me? Sure, I've never done that before, but let's go. So you've got to build those client relationships, those vendor relationships, in order to have these peak experiences of that grand exit was unforgettable. So building relationships, building bridges, getting each other's backs. How do you show up as a vendor on wedding day? And how does that translate to your vendor group and the clients seeing you all work together? So now we've got hard skills and soft skills worked out from our peak experiences to help us identify what are some things that we can use verbiage wise, concept wise, when building out our personal brand as it relates to your business. Okay, so now we have to add up our peak experiences and our key skill sets. Okay, so and also this isn't going to happen overnight. Give yourself plenty of time to sit down, brainstorm, take notes, jot some things down, think about your past experiences within your business or your time working and all the different types of jobs you've had, maybe, and pull those peak experiences from all of those different avenues to really build what it feels like to have an authentic personal brand. So now let's add up these two things and we're going to write a narrative. Okay. So we're going to write a paragraph or two that really describes your personal brand, how it relates to the service that you offer, and how it connects to your ideal client. So please forgive me in advance. My examples have a lot of words on them, but we will stop and we will read together. But I want you to see the difference between a okay personal brand narrative, an almost there personal brand narrative, and then one that really hits the mark. So stick with me. Okay, so as a reminder, I'm sure we've all heard of the SMART acronym. Okay, so our personal narrative needs to be SMART. So the S meaning specific. What are some things that you can call out that are specific to you, uniquely you, or your industry, or your service? It has to be measurable. Okay, we want to be a luxury service that only services 10 clients a year because we want to give high touch service to our clients. It's attainable. Okay. We don't want to go too pie in the sky. We have to make sure that our personal narrative and the branding that we're putting forth is attainable for you to show up like that every day, which segues into realistic. Okay. We don't want to put forward a face or a personal brand that feels inauthentic. Okay. We want to be in our happy space, in our soft zone, that we can show up like this with our personal brand for our business every day of the week. And finally, time bound. You are great at making lists. You're great at strategizing and brainstorming. But if we don't put a timeline to these things, potentially it'll never get done. Okay. So when we write our personal brand, we have to give ourselves this time bound opportunity to say, let's implement something. Let's see if it worked. Okay. Or what does my client need to see from me that's time bound? How do I show up? I am guilty of having an illness where I can't have unread emails in my inbox. So that is my time bound item here with my personal brand. If you send me an email, you're getting a response, but that's also a key factor of wedding planning, right? People are going to want to have those responses from you ASAP. Now, don't get it twisted. I do have boundaries. I think Saturday, Sunday on site. We'll see about that. Emails are still getting done, unfortunately. So, what is that time bound opportunity for you to either give yourself space to see if it's working, or what is that response time? What does that communication timeline look like that you'd like to showcase in your personal brand narrative? So, SMART. Let's remember that as we think through our personal brand. We got to be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, all 5 things need to be true to have a solid personal brand narrative. Okay, here's example 1, first slide. That's a little bit of words, but I want you to see how they compare throughout examples 2 and 3. I'll read this out together. This is based off a fictitious venue. So just bear with us as we read example 1. Red Tail Ranch is a beautiful venue in the mountains that offers indoor and outdoor spaces for weddings and events. We love helping couples celebrate their big day, surrounded by nature and great views. Our team works hard to make sure your wedding goes smoothly and that your guests have a good time. We partner with local vendors and can customize the event however you like. All right, so maybe if you're here with me on this one, let's put a thumbs up in the chat, or we like that one. How do we feel like this sounds? Would this be something you might put on a website? It's got a lot of really key points, right? It's descriptive, it shows where they are, they work with local folks, but I think we can make it better. Let's put it to the SMART test. Okay, so why it's not smart? It feels generic, right? We could describe almost any mountain venue this way, so it's not specific. It's poorly differentiated, so it doesn't show personality, brand voice, or a clear promise. While it sounds pretty, we could have so much more authenticity, personality, and your voice put into that brand narrative that's going on your website, going out on social, how you're communicating with people that you're meeting with. It's a little bit ambiguous. Quote, helping couples celebrate is pleasant but not purposeful. What else can we say that aligns with you if you're the business owner or if you're the marketing person on your team? How can you showcase your business and your brand in a more authentic, clear way? And lastly, it's a little bit random. It lacks a measurable goal. There's no emotional storytelling to guide the direction. So, this is where personal brand narratives can be a little deceiving. While example one sounds good, it doesn't pass our SMART test. Okay. So, example one, good, but we can do better. All right. Let's take a look at example two. All right, at Red Tail Ranch, we believe every wedding should feel like an extension of the couple it celebrates. Surrounded by the beauty of Colorado's South Valley, our venue offers the perfect mix of rustic charm and refined design. From mountain views to thoughtfully curated spaces, our goal is to create an atmosphere where guests can relax, connect, and celebrate. We partner with trusted local vendors and provide hands on coordination to ensure the planning process feels seamless. Whether you're dreaming of an intimate elopement or a full scale weekend celebration, our team is dedicated to bringing your vision to life in a setting that's as timeless as your love story. Okay, I feel like we're getting somewhere. We've got a little bit more authenticity in there. We've got a little bit more of a visual description of where this venue is situated and who it might be for. So I feel like we're getting close to a personal brand narrative. So again, let's put it through the SMART test. So we're almost there with this one. Okay, we've got specific. Identifies a sense of place and tone, Colorado South Valley, rustic charm, refined design. So we're really getting into some of those identifiers about the venue, the space, and what it offers, as well as the experience one might have at this location. However, it's missing a measurable goal, a target audience, and defining a brand promise. So we still could get even more detailed with this brand narrative and what it means and how that translates to our audience. One positive here is it's emotionally warm, but it lacks a clear brand voice and operational differentiator. What makes this ranch different from every other mountain venue? What makes your business the unique qualities that you bring to make your business the one that it is, and why people choose you over somebody else? Okay, so we've got example here. We're almost there. Let's take a peek at number three. I think we're going to like number three. Again, it's got more words, but I think it's got a lot of clarity, and there's a lot of pieces in here that you can pick and choose from and put on different aspects of your business, whether it's your website, social, flyers, handouts, you name it. So let's read example three together. Nestled in the heart of Steamboat Springs, South Valley, Red Tail Ranch was built for couples who crave mountain magic without sacrificing modern comfort. Designed to blur the line between nature and celebration, our venue offers panoramic views, seamless logistics, and intentional spaces that turn wedding weekends into once in a lifetime experiences. Our mission is clear to host 25 luxury weddings a year that reflect each couple's unique story while maintaining the relaxed elegance our property is known for. We collaborate exclusively with trusted creative partners who share our values of authenticity, hospitality, and excellence. From the first tour to the last toast, every detail is managed with heart, precision, and purpose so our couples can stay grounded in joy, not logistics. At Red Tail Ranch, we don't just host events, we curate moments that become part of your legacy. Whoa, what do we think? This one's huge. There's so many pieces of information here. It's built a picture, it's got some grounding numbers, engaging client and interfacing information. How are they going to feel? What can they walk away with? And how is this venue able to be part of my legacy? That's incredible. So let's play example three through the SMART test. Okay, example three, why this is smart. It's specific, it defines an audience. Couples seeking luxury mountain weddings and purpose. Okay. It's measurable. We've got 25 weddings geared up per year and anchors it in reality. It's achievable. It matches luxury positioning and operational bandwidth. Colorado, ski town, mountain valley. It is achievable with its location and what it's able to offer their potential clients. It's relevant. It connects directly to an emotional and experiential values. Clients want to feel something when they're at their wedding venue. They want to walk in and have that, this is it place. They also want to have the experience. They want to bring their guests along on this experiential journey with them, especially for Colorado. People are traveling from all over to have weddings in Colorado. They want to give them that real Colorado experience. And lastly, it's time bound, implies consistent delivery each wedding season. You know what you're going to get. The views are going to remain the same. The luxury high touch aspects are never going to go away. They've got quality vendors that they work with. So you know what you're going to get, and it's a repeatable thing. Okay. It's got consistency. So time bound can also be consistency. What are you offering that nobody else can offer that you are going to turn up day after day and give? So we've got our three examples. One, pretty darn good. Two, a little bit better. But three's really got to hit those smart components, one each at a time. And again, 2 paragraphs, 2.5 paragraphs. You might have a little bit of a thesis statement from your college professor, but in turn, you're going to have lots of really good sound bites, if you will, to spread all over your socials, your website, and anything else you use to communicate with your ideal client. Okay, so now you have a personal brand narrative. What do? You got to socialize it. You got to share it with people. You got to get some feedback. You're going to tweak it a little bit. You're going to think about what words are specifically used that identify you as a business owner, your brand or business's values. How can you differentiate yourself from your competitor? And socializing your narrative does just that. So, one way you can do is an internal socialization. Does it excite you? Are you inspired by what you just wrote? Does it create forward momentum for you? Do you get, again, that excitement? Does that turn into, oh gosh, next year, I can't wait to implement this? Okay, we heard and we saw that this rental was used all the time. Maybe I'll just add that to my inventory, right? Are you excited to move forward based off this narrative that you've written about your personal brand? And does the tone feel authentic to you? I think this one's going to be huge for it to translate appropriately. It has to feel authentically you? Is it using words that you would use on a daily basis? Is it describing something that you would never say? Make sure it sounds like you. And in this case, you can be business owner you, brand you, your team collective you. What are those values and what does authenticity mean to you and your team? So conversely, with internal, we've got external. We need to share it with people, maybe in your industry type, maybe your vendor besties, maybe you're with this lovely group, networking group, education group. Share it out with people that you are in a safe space with. Do they get it? Do they think it sounds like you? What is that feedback you're getting from how that brand narrative is written? Did they ask you questions about, like, what does this mean? What did you mean by that? I don't understand this. Take those questions into consideration and practice answering them and give it a rewrite. And then what does their body language say when you're sharing this personal brand narrative with you? We want them to be up and excited. Oh, body language is open and receptive, right? Are they slouched a little bit? Maybe a negative face, arms are crossed. Are they not totally getting it? Are they confused? So, what does that brand narrative do to your external group of people as they read and experience it? Maybe they will say, yeah, that's absolutely how I feel when I use your service, or you're on site for a wedding, or we come to your venue. Okay. If that's what that's what the feedback is that you're getting, you're on the right path. So let's socialize your brand narrative both internally. How does it make you feel? How does it make your team feel? Does it feel authentic and good tone? And then we shop it out to our safe spaces within the industry and get some feedback from those outside of your personal bubble. Okay, now we just need to implement your brand. We've written it, we've done all the coursework, we've done all the hard thinking, we've put our ideas together in a couple really solid paragraphs. Now we need to implement your brand. What does that even mean? So we have to put it out for people to see. And for everyone, that's going to feel a little bit different. So we could mean your website, Maybe we've got a new opener intro on your homepage of your website. It's your brand narrative or parts of it. Maybe we do some specific social posts that outline those objectives, those numbers, those specific things that you can share. Maybe it's also the view, showcasing how beautiful that view really is. Or what are those high points that you want to make sure that your potential clients know about you and your brand? What is the experience you want them to know and feel when they have an interaction with you? What are those things you can put on social? And that's a great place to start building those relationships, showing up authentically. I've made a lot of really good friends, even in the DMs in the industry, just chatting back and forth in social DMs, because that's a great place to build camaraderie. So when you show up on site, you're like, oh my gosh, do you remember that thing we laughed about 6 weeks ago? Where can you show up on social, and what parts of your personal brand narrative can you bring to social? And then thirdly, printouts, flyers, save the dates, postcards, holiday cards. Are you sending things to your clients? Are they walking away from you with a handout, with an info sheet? How can you bring your personal brand, your narrative, your authenticity, all of these peak experiences we've talked about into those physical printouts, flyers, postcards, etc.? Again, totally different for everybody, but take into consideration these three different platforms to socialize and get your brand implemented out to your potential audience. Okay, so recently I've taken the human design test, and I don't know if any of you have done this one yet, but I feel like it's a more accurate representation of a personality trait than, this is again my personal opinion, than the enneagrams or anything else, because I've just personally resonated more with what my test results came back with. On a personal note with this as well, I've taken my human design test result and I have rewritten website copy in my human design language, and I started attracting more people that resonated with that human design language. So, identifying who your audience is, and then we'll talk about this human design test and figuring out who your ideal audience aligns with under this human design, and really hyper focusing that content and copy on that human design identification. And you're going to start bringing in people that you are wanting to work with and that function in an authentic space like you do. So, if you've never heard of it, here's a little backdrop. Human design test, it can be unexpectedly powerful tool for developing an authentic and aligned personal brand, especially for entrepreneurs, creatives, and service-based business owners. The human design can help you clarify voice and energy, align with ideal clients' human design identity, what we just chatted about, and build an authentic brand experience. Okay, with these different human design identifiers, it's a different type of communicator. It's a different type of how people feel emotions and share emotions, how they function with information. So, meaning the engineer versus the artist, right? Which one do you enjoy working with? Do you see yourself getting more doctor lawyer clients or creative entertainers, entrepreneurs, those types of folks? They need to be communicated with so differently. Who's your ideal? How do they need to be spoken to? And how does that align with your personal human design? So here are the different categories that you can be as when you take the human design test. We've got manifesting generator. They're energetic, dynamic, and multifaceted. Okay, they like to do a lot of things at the same time. They feel stifled when their freedom is taken away from them. They also like to have lots of projects happening at the same time. It's a little bit of chaos, but they're very centralized and they're focused on getting all of those things done because everything on that list matters to them. So the projector, they're insightful, they're guided, they're intentional. These folks might take a little bit longer to make decisions. These folks will value data to make sure that they are comparing and contrasting and understanding why they're making the choice that they are making and that it's intentional. A generator, they're grounded, they're consistent, they're inviting, they're warm. So these folks are going to be making intentional decisions with decor, who they pick. Are they wanting to stay with sustainable vendors? Are they wanting to pick all LGBTQ vendors? Are they wanting to really, excuse me, have a grounded experience with inviting all of their guests to participate in their day? This is going to absolutely direct you in how they like to be communicated with and how you can meet them at this human design location. All right, the manifestor, they are visionary, they're bold, they initiate. Okay, these are going to be your big thinking clients. You got to bring them down to reality just a little bit. So maybe that's your magic power, being able to take somebody's big idea and bring it down to the logistics, bring it down to the brass tacks and say, okay, if we want to make this happen, here's how we get there. Okay, you need that combination with a manifestor. Maybe that's your, again, superpower. You're able to do that. And our final one is the reflector. They're adaptive, they're community centered, they're intuitive. A lot of these folks will have multiple decision makers with them when they're trying to figure out which contract to sign, how to negotiate, what choice to make on napkin color. They're going to take into consideration other people's feelings. They're going to want to really bring in their guests on their special day to have it feel community and like one big happy family. They're intuitive. If they get bad vibes, excuse me, they're not going to say yes. They're not going to move forward. So being sure that you're thinking about the space you're providing to have conversations with. Are you the soft, receptive half to what a reflector often feels comfortable and safe being in? Who could say? So I think taking a human design test is a great place to start when building your personal brand and thinking about how those key experiences align with human design and these characteristics and how they want to be communicated with and where your ideal client falls within this chapter of 5 different categories. And spoiler alert, I'm a manifesting generator. So I'm one with the many pots on stove. And if you tell me I can't do something, that's going to be a problem. But it makes a great planner brain because I can manage all of the clients all at the same time and everything is working out great. So, understanding who you are in this human design test is a great way to also figure out how you best show up for your clients. Okay, so who's your ideal client? Is it a manifesting generator, projector, a generator, a manifestor, or reflector? You can take this and use it to your advantage on your website copy, Instagram images, and captions, and handouts. So take a peek, take the test, it's free. And then how does that connect to your personal brand and your authenticity? All right, here's a quick recap. Personal brand narrative. We first started out with peak experiences. What has been a feel good, warm and fuzzy moment that you've had either within your business or with a client? Start writing those down. 2, identify those key skills. Are they hard skills or soft skills? How are they a benefit to building your personal brand, showcasing the best sides of your business, and drawing in that ideal client? So once we've got those peak experiences and skills, we can start writing that brand narrative. And remember to follow that SMART acronym to make sure that your brand narrative is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. We want to make sure your narrative is super smart. Okay. And then once we've got that narrative, version 1 or 17, whichever, get it social, get it out there. Share it with your intimate group, share it with your industry friends, maybe your loved ones. You'll get different points of view. Does it sound like you as a brand and a business? Does it sound like it's showcasing the values and the authenticity that you want your business to have out there for your potential new clients? And then make sure you're activating that on your website, on your socials, in your handouts, how you're taking intake calls, okay? And then, just the cherry on the top, maybe take that human design test and see where you fall, what kind of alignment you have as far as your communication style, your personality traits, and does that align with your ideal client? Are you mirroring your ideal client or are you the other half that you can help be that puzzle piece with your ideal client with the type of human design that you are? And how do you showcase that in your personal brand narrative? All right. So thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you've learned a little bit and you can take a little bit of something away from this time together. You've got my email address listed up here. You also have my speaker and my wedding planning business Instagram here. Please give me a follow. I love having new folks follow me around. LonniePeterson.com is a website you can check out. And the lucky couple of you here, if you send me an email with your venue or business name in the subject line, I'll pick one of you to have a 30-minute consult call to help build out your brand narrative. So please take advantage if you choose. And my email is available to you whenever you've got questions. I know you got to think about it, got to sleep on all this information, and just please reach out if you have any questions. But thank you again. Thanks so much for having me. I had a great time.
Thank you so much, Lonnie. I have so many notes, and one thing that really stood out to me is you're smart. I feel like that's something that you can apply to everything, even when you're speaking to people on networkers. A lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm a little bit shy," but it's what you said, like it's you're really selling that relationship, not just like the product or service that you're doing. So being able to be yourself, applying it to your listing, not only your wedding venue map listing, but any kind of description when you have your listing on your website. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. I was like writing all the things down. So I really
Yay, good, good.
appreciate you taking the time. And I think being realistic with your client to stick out to me. I feel like that's something that a role that we have to play as well when we're on wedding shows, and sometimes couples come in at us really hot and heavy of their expectation and what they want on their wedding day, and it's like, okay, let's be realistic. Like there's a timeline that needs to be followed. What's your budget? Like what's your guest
Exactly.
count? So just honestly staying true to yourself and like learning what your human trait is as well, so you can apply that with other clients and your business. So I
Yes.
really enjoyed it. So thank you so much
Yay.
for your time today.
Absolutely, you're so welcome. And you're happy. I can you can share the slides or PDF them or whatever you like with the contact information. I'm happy for you guys to do that, especially for those folks catching it in the database after the fact. But thank you again. And if you need anything, please holler, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.